Okay, so the idea is that you're going to go on a date with my dog, an online date. And this is just the background information. Blue, I picked because I didn't know at the time I was picking the wrong dog for this. But now I think I'm picking the right dog because you'll see why. Anyway, this is the pilot, and this is why it's not as easy. When I said, oh yeah, I'll just sell him everything. No big deal, right? Well, that's the thing is, I found out actually talking to my own mom that there's stuff that I say that doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. So I had to make sure, because it's really important that I do that. Because we can watch a dog, or I can tell you, right? I can tell you Blue's got like a super high prey drive. But depending on what you seek in your life and what works for you and what kind of dog and kind of relationship you're looking for, Blue could either, if I give you the wrong information, he could either end up as like with a badge or as a bad guy. I gave him nunchucks. I'm not very good at this art, okay, but you get the point. He could get two opposing labels from if I told the story wrong. So this is why it's important for me to know. I don't know, to be neurotic about it, I guess. Anyway, so in the pilot, I put information to sort of explain, I guess, how I think through some of this stuff. And so here's the question, and this is, I added, thank you, Al, I've put in the group for this. I added this because this information, this is for the working dog people who would come on this date and go, oh my gosh, my friend Al, sorry Al to call you out, but he helped me know there's a perspective of people who might actually be looking for a dog like Blue to be their partner, and Blue has those skills, right? But what I also want to make sure, okay, and that is, so this is, and I just want to say, this is exclusion, right? So I want to give you the information, like I want to figure out the hard nose and give those up front, and they're going to be different for everybody, so that's why it's got to be kind of a range of criteria. But only you know those hard nose. I can predict them based on, stories and, the studies and stuff. But this is, it's just me coming up with all the things I think you might need to know, right? And again, it's a pilot, so I don't know. It's you gotta put it out there. All right, so then if the thing is, you go as far into the story as you want to go. So if it's okay to look at this and be like, not for me, right? Because he's intense, and that's how this should look. He is intense. He's not mean. He's not aggressive, right? But he has all, like, his survival instinct, his prey drive it's working dog level. And I'm going to admit this, I did not know that I had the dog I had always asked for, okay? Because I didn't know yet. There was information I didn't have yet. And so that's how one change of just my paradigm. Now I'm figuring out things and now I can make all these connections, And so it's okay to pass by if you already know that it's a no. And if not, there's more stuff. But it's go as far into the story as you feel, because you're on a date. And these are long-term relationships, commitments, in human relationships, people go on like 12 dates, I think, before they even decide to have a title together. So I gotta give you some really, I gotta give you some information for you to know whether or not it is worthy of coming and meeting Blue. And at that time, then that's when you start on the bridge, right? And then I start helping you. Then you meet them. At potentially, if you have another dog, we meet those. This is this where you sort of like start the dating, but I don't want to waste your time, and so you should have the information. Be like, next, you scrape right or scrape left or whatever. All right, so then this is other stuff. Okay, see, Blue. This is how I learned to think about things, and that little story's in there if you want to know. But this is how I think about things, and this is how I manage dogs in general and understand them. And so Blue this is his like default setting, right? And you can read all that to kind of like stuff for yourself, but it's sort of like supposed to be a guide. And again, I don't know if it says anything because I don't know. I don't know how people think. But if you were gonna have Blue in a neighborhood, if he wasn't going to be like working, you're going to take him on a walk or something, these are like tools that that's how I know, that's how I work them. And then so I'm trying to give you those tools if that's what you want, if you made it that far in the story. That's that. Okay, then Sam will also learn how to make these things. Whoop. Oh, I didn't put any there. Sorry. Okay, and then, all right, so then you make it here, and here's like a quick look profile. Here's all the stuff I got. Everything I can tell you. A separation, co-sleeping, potty training, leash, digging, jumping, and I'll put in here, there's things that I do in care, but there's things that I inherently can't do, and one of those is always making sure everyone's exactly potty trained, because when you're juggling as many dogs and needs and stuff, some of those things, just like somebody pees on the floor, and it's the least big deal that happened in here, here today. But I understand that for you, it's a bigger deal because you don't have a crazy town. So I sometimes I just, there's things I don't get to take as far as I potentially could or, would like to. But over time, I hope to keep on getting better at those processes too. But anyway, if they're, if it is what it is, and does well. So for his leash, he does well in a longer lead. And for Blue, it's, it's for any dog, but for Blue, this is so important, is to start calm or find calm before you start, because if he's already amped, he's going to go and chase cats. And so for Blue, I actually use that to get him to not chase cats. I put him to work instead, but that's a whole different thing. All right, so then I was like, all right, well, what if you just wanted to get in touch? You want to ask me a question or whatever, Well, there's a little button. It doesn't work, but see for yourself if you think it might be necessary or worthy. And then I thought about, all right, so one thing I do know is that there's some myths, right? So if I can help understand where the thing, the myth lies or whatever, maybe I can clear it up. And that was for Blue. That's a big one because he has so much intensity about the ball. So for him, the thing I spent a lot of time on was teaching him putting boundaries on the ball. So then I tried this with a Blue's perspective. This is what Blue knows about his balls. And so if I talk about if Blue talks about himself, how does that translate? I don't know. And then this was just other stuff that I thought of, like in terms of saving you money on things like that. This is not by any means an exhaustive list of stuff, but it's like these things we tried. Definitely, like, do not waste your money unless you just want to like have fun or you have them in excess or something. But these things, like, I mean, they're not even worth the money you pay at the thrift shop, to be completely honest. If for longevity, now for like a treat or something, go for it. But trying to think about like if there's ways I can ensure you don't have to spend money I already spent and wasted, so to speak, or then I try and do that for you. Or I consider that value add, or I hope it is. And then chewing, right? So my golly day, we have gone through some stuff, and you know, these things tend to be on. I got to put a Benny Bone on here. These things tend to be the things better that, you know, they'll hold up. And by no means have I. There's none that are better than the other. You know, there's nobody's paying me for any of this. It's just stuff that have. These tend to be better than these, but there might be something better than those. And if there are, you know, I'll say it or whatever. It's just trying to give you information is all. So then I just call this part the novel. So then if you get this far and you want to, you can read about a story and, you know, where he came from, and you can kind of see the, you know, the work that that we did and where it all started. And I don't know if that's important to, you know, your understanding or your, you know, about where your new dogs came from, but or the journey, but it's there if you want to know. And then you can see what we did. You can see this one. These things kind of break my heart because I don't, when you're living it real time, you don't recognize. Look at that boo. Look at it when he first came home. It makes me so sad, but so proud for him now. Oh, and my car worked then, I guess. Wow. It's been dead for a long time. Anyway, so you can just sort of see the journey if you want to know. And that'll be there probably no matter what you say, because I'm going to probably always want to write stories. You know, I hope that the stories will be of value. Maybe since they're on the website, you know, maybe the stories will get read and stuff. They're in a more accessible format. And that's what I thought was important. But that's our journey. So, oh, and by the way, there's a post about that. So there's like him meeting other dogs and, you know, stuff. And, you know, if you were on the date, of course, if you've been following along, you probably already read some of this maybe. But, you know, just like I guess that's kind of like how Date Your Dog is set up so far. And I get that this might be the weirdest thing I ever did, the weirdest work I ever did, but it's so interesting to me. And my brain just like thinks like this. So if anyone will take an interest, that's Date Your Dog.